Hey guys, it's Sarah. Thank you so much for watching. Today I'm going to be doing my first ever Q&A video. I asked you guys in my May wrap-up video what questions you'd like me to answer. I also asked on Instagram and I got quite a few questions, so I'm going to go ahead and dive on in. I'm really excited, kind of nervous. I got a few beauty related questions and then also a few non-beauty related questions just about me and my life and that sort of thing. So let's just get started. I did get quite a few questions about what I majored in college and what I am doing now that I've graduated. So in college I majored in linguistics and I also had a minor in music and Spanish. So yeah, that's what I did in college. Linguistics is just kind of what I settled on because I found it really interesting. I've always loved language and learning about other languages as well as just about English and the way that language works. It's a pretty broad field. There's a lot of things you can do with it. A lot of it is kind of the more cognitive side, like how our brains process language, and then a lot of it is also just studying the features of other languages, and it's kind of hard to explain, but that's what I majored in. And actually what I'm doing now is kind of completely unrelated, which I kind of knew was going to happen. I never really wanted to do anything directly related to linguistics. So now I graduated a little over a year ago in the spring of 2017, and right after I graduated I started the job that I currently have. I work for a public health and nutrition advocacy organization. It's a relatively new organization. It was actually just founded last spring, and I was actually the first person to be hired at the organization, which is pretty cool. Basically, the mission of that organization is to reduce the amount of disease-causing foods on the menus in places like schools, hospitals, and other universities, just any critical institutions where food is served, and replace those with healthier, mostly plant-based alternatives. So it's just about improving the food system, basically. I am a campaign coordinator, so I do a lot of work just organizing the campaigns that we do. And I actually work from home. Our entire team is remote, so we all work from home, which is interesting. It can get a little bit lonely sometimes, but I really love the job. It's been a really good experience, especially working for a startup. It's a lot of just constant changes and learning to be flexible and kind of think on my feet and be willing to learn quickly. So it's been a really good first full-time job experience. I've been there for over a year now, so yeah, it's been really cool. So that's what I'm doing now that I've graduated. I hope that answered those questions well enough. Okay, Linda asked, do you have any siblings and what is your favorite childhood memory? So I do have one older sister. She's 4 years older than me, and my favorite childhood memory, I would say my favorite childhood memory is probably the day that we adopted our dog Bingo. So we adopted him when I was just 4 years old, or 4.5, and I remember going with my dad. The SPCA in our area was having an adoption event, and they had several dogs up for adoption. And we went, it was at a pet supply store, and we went and met a few dogs, and this one little black dog, his name was Como at the time. We met him, and there was just something really sweet about him, and I, at that age, was really afraid of most dogs, but I remember going up to Bingo and being kind of scared to pet him, and but he just had such a sweet, calm face. I just thought there was something so sweet and special about him, and my parents had been thinking about getting a dog for a while, I guess, so we ended up adopting him, and we had him all through my childhood. He actually lived to be almost 17 years old, so when we got him he was I think he was 7 or 8 months old, and he lived until I was 20, so we had him all, growing up, he was there through everything. So yeah, probably meeting Bingo for the first time is my favorite memory. Even though it's a very distant memory now because I was only 4, I still do remember meeting him, and yeah. Okay, and then Jay Homey, who has a fantastic YouTube channel, by the way, you should definitely watch her. She asked, Favorite and least favorite thing about the online beauty community? Okay, really good question. I can tell you my least favorite thing. I think my least favorite thing is just the amount of pressure I think that we put on ourselves, like us YouTubers, just to be perfect all the time. I feel like there's kind of this pressure, mostly probably that we put on ourselves, but also just being in this beauty community. I think there's a lot of pressure to when filming to like have your makeup look perfect and have your hair look perfect and always have your nails done, which mine are never done. Just, you know, like always having the best lighting, and I don't know, there's a lot of pressure, and I think that as women especially, I would be willing to bet that a lot of us are kind of perfectionists as it is. And I feel like there's always that thought in the back of, at least for me, there's always that thought in the back of my mind that like if my lighting isn't good, which it hardly ever is, but if my lighting isn't good, or if my makeup is looking weird that day, or my hair is a mess, or like there's always like that thought that like it's not good enough, you know. And sometimes I wish I could just like put on a t-shirt and have my hair in a messy bun and have like no makeup on and just like get on camera and talk about makeup, which is why I do this, or why we all do this, right? Is we just want to talk to other people about makeup. Like that's the whole point. But I always, you know, it's like you can't really do that anymore because it's just not good enough, or at least I feel like it's not good enough to do that. You know what I mean? I hope I'm making sense. But I think my least favorite thing is just the amount of pressure, both from just being on YouTube and also just the pressure that we put on ourselves to have to like do everything right all the time, no matter what. I hope that made sense. I don't know. I'm sure other people who are watching who have YouTube channels or who are on social media or even who have blogs and stuff, like, you probably understand, like, what I mean. But yeah, least favorite thing. My favorite thing is just having a platform to get to connect with people who are equally interested in makeup. Like, it's kind of a weird obsession that we have. And in my everyday life, I don't really know anyone who would be interested in hearing me talk about this to the extent that I want to talk about it, right? So it's really cool to live like in this day and age where we have the ability to connect with this whole community of people who are also interested in that. And that's true for any online community, but I love having the ability to connect with you guys, and chatting in the comments with people is like my favorite thing to do. I love getting comments on my videos. I'm always so excited when I see a comment pop up because I'm like, yes, like I love connecting and like having conversation with you guys. Okay, and then Mia asked, what are your top 3 favorite songs ever at the moment, or both? Okay, I'm so glad you asked. Okay, number 1 is the song 8 Circle by Bon Iver. Bon Iver is probably my favorite artist, specifically his album 22 A Million, which is his most recent album. That album is so cool, and specifically that song is just like my favorite song of all time. I don't know what it is about it. I'm gonna try to find these songs on YouTube and like link them down below in case you want to listen to them. But that would be number 1. Another favorite of all time would be the song Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap. I love that song. That's kind of an old song, but I still love that song. And let's see. I also really love the song Honey Body by Kishibashi, and Kishibashi is actually a like local artist. Like he actually lives in the same town where I live, which is really cool. And that's like where he records his music. And I saw him live in like December. He is so good. He's like classically trained on the violin, and so his songs have like a very like orchestral sounding vibe to them. But yeah, I love that song. So anyway, those are probably my top 3 songs. I could keep going, but we'll just leave it at that for now. And then Jax Lorraine, who also has a really good YouTube channel, she asked, when did you first start wearing makeup and how did you learn the basics? I'm pretty sure I started wearing makeup in middle school around that time. I think I started wearing like just like a little bit of concealer, maybe a little bit of like face powder, probably mascara and eyeliner a little bit later. And I don't really know how I learned the basics before I started watching YouTube, but I didn't really watch YouTube until like my junior or senior year of high school. So up until then, I'm pretty sure I just kind of like figured it out for myself. I didn't really wear a ton of makeup until later on in high school when I really started to enjoy things like eyeshadow and like I remember really wanting to learn how to do winged liner. And that was when I discovered YouTube because I was like looking up tutorials and I just discovered this whole world of really cool and informative videos on YouTube. Yeah, so I'd say I really learned the basics when I started watching YouTube, which was later on in high school. And before that, I probably just learned a thing or two like from my mom, and I probably just kind of figured it out. But yeah, I guess it's hard to say when I really first learned the basics, but I really wouldn't know anything if it weren't for YouTube. That's for sure. Oh, and then Bailey asked, how have you adjusted to life after college as far as routines, free time, etc. go? I actually did have a really hard time making that transition, especially going from college to working full-time from home. I started the job I have now literally 10 days after I graduated, so it was a very quick transition, and in college I was really active. You know, I mean, in college you're busy. I was pretty involved on campus, and my schedule was always just packed. I worked part-time too, and so it was just, I was always around people, you know, always doing things, and then going from that lifestyle straight into just working full-time from home. I got really lonely, and it was hard. But I would say it took me about 6 months to finally kind of get into a groove and learn how to kind of set a routine for myself, because having been in school for like 18 years, you never really learn how to decide things for yourself because it's all kind of decided for you. And so my job now, I'm really lucky that I get to kind of set my own schedule, which is great, but also that was a really hard transition too because I've never had that kind of freedom before. So it took a while, but yeah, I am now finally like feeling like, okay, I feel pretty good about my schedule and my routine now. I definitely have like a pretty solid daily routine. I work pretty much like from 9 to 5 most days, just like a normal job, and a lot of times I really can't stay at home all day. I will lose my mind. I have to get out of the house. So I'll go to like coffee shops sometimes, or I want to start going to like the local library too, because I think that'll be kind of a nice place to work. But yeah, I have to get out of the house. I always, not always, but most days after I finish working I go to the gym, which is really nice. So that's helped, because working a really sedentary job where you're just on the computer all day, by the end of the day I feel like I need to get some exercise. But yeah, so that's how that's been going. It was hard, I will say, and I think it's probably hard for most people. Most of the people that I've talked to, like friends who've also graduated recently, kind of feel the same way. Like, it's pretty shocking to go from being like super social all the time to actually being an adult and just not having like constant forced social interaction all the time. It's hard. So any recent college graduates, I am here with you. I understand. So, okay, and then the music teacher 2008 asked, well, she asked, what's your day job? I answered that a minute ago. And she also asked, what are your hobbies and what do you like to do in your free time? That's a good question. Usually when I have a bit of free time, the first thing I'm going to want to do is watch YouTube videos. I also really, let's see, what do I do in my free time? I really enjoyed going to the gym lately. I know that sounds kind of silly, but that just always puts me in a better mood, and I love doing like yoga, and I do like the classes at my gym. They have like group fitness classes, and that's pretty much all I do because it's easy and you don't have to think about it. Like, you just show up and someone else tells you what to do and you do it and you get a really good workout and then you just leave and you're done. So I really like doing that. I love those group fitness classes. And yeah, other than that, I like just doing normal people things like hanging out with friends and family. And I also really enjoy cooking and baking, although I don't always find the time to do it. Especially during the holidays. I love baking and like cooking for people. I just love doing that. That's really fun. But I definitely would say I spend most of my free time just working on my YouTube channel, because that really is one of my favorite things to do. Jordan asked, what is your favorite lipstick and how do you apply foundation? I feel like blenders are not the most hygienic. Okay, so favorite lipstick, let me go get it. Okay, so I have a couple favorites. My all-time favorite, just like classic lipstick in a tube like this, is the Terre matte lipstick in Napa Valley. No one talks about this brand. They are a really expensive brand, but you can find them on HauteLook a lot for like 80% off. So that's where I've gotten my stuff from this brand. But this lipstick, not only the shade, but I also just really love the formula. It's just this gorgeous like berry red color, which I love. It's a matte lipstick, but it has a very like creamy, comfortable formula. That's my favorite lipstick of all time in this kind of packaging. And then a more recent favorite that has quickly become a favorite is the Physicians Formula Healthy Lip Liquid Lipsticks. This is a very unique liquid lipstick formula. They're really comfortable. I recently got 2 more shades because Walmart had $3 off coupons on these, and so I got 2 of them because I couldn't pass up that deal. But I'd say my favorite shade is the one in Tulip Treatment. It's like a really pretty bright watermelon red. Can you tell I like red lipsticks? But they also have, let's see, the other 2 shades I have are All Natural Nude, which is just a very classic nude shade. And then this one is like a plummy brown called Noir-ishing Plum. They have really like punny names on these, but that's a really deep, rich plum. I didn't have anything like that already, so that's why I chose that color, but that'll be fun to wear in the fall. So anyway, those are my current favorite lipsticks. So you got like a expensive option and a drugstore option there. Oh, and a really affordable option are the Wet n Wild Megalast Lipsticks. That's what I'm wearing right now, actually. Those are really nice, and they're like $1.99 at the drugstore. And she also asked, how do you apply foundation? Because she feels like blenders are not the most hygienic. So it kind of depends. I use either brushes or sponges. My favorite foundation brush is the Wet n Wild Flat Top brush. It's just a really good foundation brush, really soft, and so that's what I use. It kind of depends on the foundation because some foundations look better applied with a brush and some of them look better applied with a sponge. I would say I reach for brushes more often simply because I don't like to go to the trouble of wetting my sponge. But I do like to use a sponge, especially with foundations that can tend to look more dry and cakey. So the sponge I have right now is the Flower Beauty one, but I do agree that sponges are not the most hygienic. I try to clean it as often as possible, and I just use like the Dr. Bronner's soap, and that does a pretty good job. So yeah, hope that answers that question. And then the music teacher 2008 also asked, what's your favorite lip gloss brands and colors? I actually am probably not the best person to ask this question because I am really not that into lip gloss. Actually, I only own one, and it's the one from Pacifica. It's a nice gloss. It's just like a sheer kind of pink color. Yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you, but I'm wanting to get more into lip gloss. But the Pacifica one is really nice, and I would say that is my favorite only because it is the only one I own. But it does work really nicely, and I feel like one gloss is kind of all I need because once they're on the lips, they kind of look the same to me. But I'm also just not that into lip gloss. And then Serena asked, what TV shows do you like to binge watch? Honestly, I don't really binge watch TV shows very much. I don't really watch that much TV in general. Usually if I'm watching anything, it's gonna be YouTube. But TV shows that I do really like, if I am gonna binge watch anything, it's usually Friends. Just because once I start watching it, I can't stop. Like, it's so good. Such a good show. And then I also really like Seinfeld. I know, like, that's pretty old school, but my dad kind of got me hooked on Seinfeld. I also like any shows related to, like, tiny houses, because those just fascinate me. And I also like just, like, House Hunters. But yeah, those are some of my shows that I would occasionally watch, but yeah, I'm not super into a lot of TV shows. Maybe I should be. I don't know. Okay, and then Lizzie Loves Life. I love your YouTube channel, by the way. She asked, what's your go-to summer piece of clothing? Any upcoming vacations and trips this summer? What's your favorite lip product and shade? And favorite candle scent? Okay, so go-to summer piece of clothing, honestly, most days I wear workout clothes just because they're comfortable. Aside from that, that's probably honestly my go-to, but if I'm actually gonna dress cute, my go-to piece of clothing would probably be like a dress, because they're just so comfortable, especially when it's hot outside. And the good thing about dresses is that it makes you look like you put in a lot of effort, but you really only had to put on like one piece of clothing. And it's a lot more like breathable and just comfy in the summertime especially. So, and then she asked upcoming vacations and trips this summer. So I am going on vacation actually to Canada with my mom next month, and so that'll be fun. We're just going for like 5 days, I think. We're going to Montreal and Quebec City. And so I'm really excited about that. I've never been to Canada before. I need to brush up on my French though, because I don't know any French. Oh, and then another trip I'm going on, it's not really a vacation, but I am going to LA for a conference later in June for my job. But I've never been to LA either, so that'll be cool. Okay, what's your favorite? Okay, I answered what's your favorite lip product and shade, and then favorite candle scent. Pretty much anything like food, like baked goods. I had like a caramel latte candle recently. That was really good. Anything food like, or like vanilla based. Those are usually my favorites. I think that was everything actually. Is there another one? Oh, there was one other question from Jess. She asked if you had to pick only one product, beauty or otherwise, that was less than $100, what product has had the most positive impact on your life? Okay, I've been thinking about this question for like a week now, and I still don't feel like I have a good answer. It's a really good question. It really made me think. I would say non-beauty, probably my gym membership. I mean, I've probably spent over $100 over the time that I've had it, but monthly it's less than $100, obviously, so maybe that counts. I feel it's not really a product, but it is something that I've spent my money on, and I feel like that has had a really positive impact on me because before that I really wasn't that into exercising at all, and now I like feel like I can't live without it. So that's really had the most positive impact. And then beauty related, I would say it's really hard to say. The one thing that I did think of is this set of brushes. These are the oldest brushes I own, and this is the oldest like makeup product that I own. I have had these for probably almost 10 years now. I'm pretty sure I got them like freshman year of high school, and it was like the first makeup brushes I ever owned as far as I know. And I still use them every single day, pretty much. I use this one every day. Yeah, they've held up really well, but when I think about it, like these brushes have been with me through so many years, and I've used them for countless different makeup looks, and it's just kind of cool to think about that. And I feel like this is probably like the one thing I own, like makeup-wise, that it would be really hard for me to get rid of, just because it's kind of nostalgic, and it just, I don't know, it's kind of cool that these have been around. These have been in my life for so long. So that's probably not like the best answer to that question. I wish I had a better answer, but yeah, that was a really good question. Thank you. So this was a lot of fun. Thanks to everyone who asked a question. I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed and got to know a little bit more about me. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys next time.